My presentation will be focusing on human rights and the death penalty in various countries, such as the United States, Mongolia, and Russia. Death penalty is the punishment of execution administered to someone legally convicted of a capital crime, and human rights are the fundamental rights, especially those believed to belong to an individual in whose exercise a government may not interfere. The United States of America is a democratic country with a two-party system that still allows for capital punishment, even though 19 of the 50 states have abolished the death penalty. The states that have abolished the death penalty include Alaska, Connecticut, Delaware, Washington, D.C., Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, Rhode Island, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Of all the death penalty methods, the only one all states agree on being the best method that doesn't interfere with our human rights or Eighth Amendment rights is lethal injection. From 2001 to 2014, 673 of the 683 executions were carried out by lethal injection. In addition to the 31 states, the United States federal government and United States military also use execution by lethal injection. Some other methods recognized in the United States are hanging, shooting, gas chamber, and electrocution. There are 3 states that authorize hanging as an alternative method. 2 states authorize execution by fire squad. 3 authorize execution by lethal gas, and 8 of the 31 states authorize electrocution as an alternative method. If someone receives the federal death penalty, it may be carried out by a method of execution used in the state where the person's offense occurred. In 2005, Roper v. Simmons ruled that death penalty cannot be used on offenders younger than 18 years old. At the time of the murder they are being charged for, because this violates the Eighth Amendment and our human rights. Pregnant women, intellectually disabled, and mentally ill are also exempt from being able to receive the death penalty. As long as courts abide by these guidelines, the death penalty is viewed as illegal and not violating human rights in the United States. Mongolia is a semi-presidential, multi-party country that abolished the death penalty on July 1, 2017. The abolition of the death penalty came about after a process initiated in 2010 that temporarily prohibited capital punishment. They became the 106th state to abolish this. During the time they did have the death penalty, the only crimes that allowed you to receive this punishment were terrorist attacks against representatives of a foreign state, sabotage, premeditated murder with aggravating circumstances, and rape with aggravating circumstances. Only men ages 18 to 60 could receive such punishment, and women were never able to. The family members of these criminals were never notified the date of their execution, and the most modern method they used was bullet to the neck. Mongolian president in 2010 was the one to call the moratorium on the death penalty because it hurt Mongolia's dignity, human rights, and so many other countries have begun to do it. This led to the 2017 decision to abolish it, but their new president has recently submitted a new proposal to reinstate the death penalty because he believes the decision was made without sufficient research and hasn't done anything to help their country. Although the new president wanting to reinstate it, it has not become a final decision. The Parliament of Mongolia has to pass the proposal and then pass a law on it before it becomes effective. So only time will tell if they will remain a country against the death penalty or if they will go back to being for the death penalty. Russia is a federal semi-presidential republic and has a multi-party system. The last execution they had in the Russian Federation happened in 1999 because there was then a moratorium on the death penalty established. A moratorium is a temporary suspension of execution and of death sentences. In 2009, when the moratorium ended, Russia decided to extend the moratorium. Due to the moratorium, they have not deemed it illegal by making a law against it. When this moratorium ends, if they continue to keep the death penalty legal, the crimes they make you eligible to receive the death penalty are aggravated murder, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide, and other offenses that don't result in death. But there is no mandatory death penalty, they are all discretionary. The death penalty was carried out by a pistol shot in the back of the offender's head. Men over the age of 18 were eligible to receive capital punishment. You were excluded from the death penalty if you were younger than 18 years old at the time of your crime, women or pregnant women, or even women with small children, intellectually disabled, mentally ill, or considered elderly. With these guidelines, the country does not seem to believe it is completely hurting human rights. In Article 20 of their Constitution, it states, capital punishment may be, until its abolition, be instituted by federal law as exemptional punishment for especially grave crimes against life, with the accused having the right to have his case considered in a law court by jury. In November of 2009, the Constitutional Court extended their 1999 moratorium indefinitely due to its constitutional mandate to progress towards abolition. There is always a chance they go back to the death penalty, and the chance that they will pass a law to abolish it forever. Only time will tell what will happen after this moratorium ends.